like to welcome to the show the U.S. Representative of Illinois' 2nd Congressional District, the Honorable Congresswoman Robin Kelly. Congresswoman Kelly has been a member of Congress since 2013. She currently serves on the House Energy and Commerce Committee and the following subcommittees: Commerce and Health, Communications and Technology, and Innovation, Data, and Commerce. Wow, that's a mouthful. The Congresswoman is definitely working hard in D.C. and at home. She's been able to secure $527,000 just for our fire department alone for the purchase of a new fire engine through FEMA Homeland Security Assistance to Firefighters Grant, the AFG. Additionally, she secured $2.25 million in funds for the acquisition and demolition of blighted and vacant buildings in the city of Harvey and streetlight improvements to enhance public safety in our city. We're going to start this episode off differently because everyone knows Robin Kelly, and at least they think they do. But let's get to know her a little bit better with a few rapid questions. Okay, Congresswoman Kelly, welcome here, and thank you so much for coming. We have some quick questions for you real quick, just kind of, as an icebreaker.
All righty.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Well,
Coffee?
I can stay up as long as I'm busy.
Coffee or tea?
Definitely coffee.
Okay, well, okay, I get it. That's why you're a morning person, right? Because you get your coffee in the morning. Favorite season?
Spring.
Spring. Guilty pleasure?
Probably some of the TV shows I watch.
Do we get you to name at least one?
Dancing with the Stars.
Wow, okay. Do you like to dance?
Yeah, I like to dance.
Okay. Would you rather travel to the past or to the future?
I'd say the future.
Okay. Driving or flying?
Definitely driving, even though I fly every week.
Okay. And how do you recharge? Just working out, reading a book? What do you do to recharge?
Actually, these days, recharging is just being in my own house and catching up on the shows that I missed. That's how I relax. I like massages too.
And then gym shoes or sneakers?
I'm a New Yorker, definitely sneaker.
Now, I have to ask this question because this one's a little bit off, but do you fold your pizza?
Yes, I do. New York pizza.
Okay, yeah. All right. So, hey, I'm not from New York, and I fold it too, so I think it's better that way.
The squares are a little hard to fold.
Yeah, but that's why I always buy it New York style.
Slices,
yeah,
yeah,
we have actually a place here in Harvey that actually serves it that way, and I go there specifically because they do it, and I can fold it.
I have to try it.
Yeah, it's actually great. So, but let's get to the real stuff. So, why don't we start with you reflecting on your personal connection to Harvey? I know some people think that you're a Southland native, but you've already said, native New Yorker. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I moved to the south suburbs a long time ago now, and when I worked for the Village of Matheson, I was the community affairs director, and it actually allowed me to work with people from all over the south suburbs. So I didn't have to live there, but some things that we were trying to accomplish, I was allowed to work with a lot of different municipalities, and then eventually I ran for state representative, and Harvey was a part of Harvey was one of my towns, and that's how I really got involved. But also, I went to Bradley University, so I had friends that lived in Harvey. So I came to Harvey long before I even moved up here to live in this vicinity. But really, that's where it really started intensely when I was a state representative and used to serve a part of Harvey, and it's just grown from there.
So, did you go to Bradley from New York, or you went to Bradley after?
No. I came to Illinois. I went to Bradley University. I often say the recruiter fooled me because he told me Peoria was the second largest city, in Illinois. So I'm thinking city. I was born and raised in Manhattan, and he said that it was right in the middle of Chicago and St. Louis. I didn't drive. I didn't look at the map, so. It took me a year to get to Chicago and 4 years to get to St. Louis.
Yeah, that recruiter really fooled you.
Oh, he did. He said I was his best recruit. I'm still here.
Wow. Okay, well, that's very interesting to hear, but we're glad that you're here because the state of Illinois, and specifically the city of Harvey, has definitely benefited from everything that you've done. And while we're familiar with your great work and you're doing in DC to benefit Harvey, can you tell us something about the process in DC so that the public can better understand how that works?
Sure. Well, we're there to represent the interests of our district. My district is very diverse, so it's hard to do in some ways. I'm definitely urban, suburban, and rural. I start on 43rd Street in Chicago, and I go south of Danville and west of Pontiac. I have the biggest Democratic
Wait,
district.
hold on, stop. You said west of Pontiac?
Yes.
Now, I've been in Illinois all my life. Where's Pontiac?
You have to take 55. You know where Dwight is?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's after Dwight. Yeah.
We were way out there. Okay,
Well,
I
but
didn't.
Danville is even further away from, like from where I live.
But you get the signs, for
Oh yeah,
Danville
no,
and
I
things like that.
love the diversity of the district, and the way I look at it. No matter where you live, there are some main things that people want. Most people want a roof over their head, a job. They want decent education for their kids, decent health care, and they want to feel safe. So really, that's how I approach my job every day. I have 2,000 farms in my district.
So, okay, then that explains it. Because I was going to go on more on how you represent in DC. But it looks like you just basically, regardless of where a person is from, what they do, what their ethnicity is, you basically look at the commonality between all of those
Sure.
people, which is what you just said. People want a decent place to live, a good place for their family. They want jobs, they want education, those things. They want to feel safe. So,
And there's some nuances. Like I have a very heavy healthcare portfolio, and since now that I have more of a rural part, they have less access to healthcare. But also, you could say that on the south side of Chicago, you might be able to say that some of the suburban towns that I represent. But for those that live downstate, they may only have one doctor or two in a certain field. They may have to travel an hour, to get healthcare, just things like that. And another big difference, I'm on commerce and technology. So here we turn on the TV, we have our cable, our broadband, and those kind of things. That is not the truth throughout my district.
wow. Well, I know that Harvey alone has had its own digital divide issues. So I can imagine what's going on way out there in those rural areas and what they have to deal with.
I have some towns that still have outhouses as bathrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you see, people, we're kind of lucky ourselves to just not have outhouses. I mean, that is absolutely amazing, and I'm pretty sure the average person probably would have no clue that there were people living in 2024 that were still using outhouses. How do we begin to get those people, that certain segment, indoor plumbing?
Sure. Well, working with the various municipalities, and as you know, we'll put in if there are grants available or money to be given out, like community member money. So we try to work with the different municipalities on how to step forward, and do that. We've helped, the area in Kankakee, Hopkins Park, Pembroke Township, with the internet, and we're helping them with some different things. They were using propane gas, so we've trying to help move them away from that. It's not the the latest, but it's better than what they had. So depending on what we can do, we do, or hook them up with the right people, to change things. Some people, if that's what they grew up with, I don't know, not that they don't know a difference, they know a difference, but that's what they live with. And then but they have to go to their their mayor or their commissioner and things like that, their state rep, and then we all try to work together to make a change.
Wow. Well, what are some of the challenges that you get that you face when working in DC?
Well, DC has been the most interesting year, just because of, not to get political, but we're very tight as far as the votes. So it's been a lot of back and forth. It's been hard to get things done because there's a certain element of, I have to say it, of the Republican Party that has really been disruptive. and they've been disruptive within their own party. It's not Dems fighting with Republicans; they're
Right,
fighting,
right.
with each other. As you know, we got a new speaker. The other speaker was outvoted, and so now we have a new speaker. And when I return to D.C., we might be voting on that again, even though I think that the Democrats want to be the adults in the room, and we're not going to go through this again. We need to get things moving, because now we're working on all the appropriations, and I know the people that we represent want us to get those appropriations done, so that we can get resources back to where we represent.
Well, the good thing I can say is that, at least from working across the aisle, or at least a level of respect that is given between different Congress people, you are highly regarded. Okay, and once again, I love it because you represent,
Right.
the city of Harvey, but you can go into a room and people will at least pay attention and listen to what you're saying, which means that you have the ability to reach across the aisle at times when necessary, and that's a talent.
But we do it a lot.
Yeah.
Myself and my office.
Mhm.
There were only, I think, 30 bills signed into law. One of the bills was the one I worked on with one of my Republican colleagues, dealing with organ transplantation. So many people died every year because we couldn't get the organs to them in a timely fashion. So we worked on legislation to change that, and believe me, thousands of people will live, because of it. So when I worked across the aisle, I do a lot of work around maternal mortality and morbidity, and the legislation I passed is bipartisan. I lead a bipartisan group on maternal health, so I try to work in a bipartisan way, and that's how we're going to get things done, especially with the vote so tight, and we need to do that anyway.
And it seems to be a change of, I think, thinking, a mental change, and a change in operations in D.C. right now. I mean, it's just my opinion. You're looking at it, from the outside, from the way it used to be, where it seemed like you could be on both sides of it. You can be on either side of the aisle, but you still had a certain degree of decorum, a certain degree of respect, a certain degree of even camaraderie, because even though you may have, been on different sides, you're still in the same house, working together. And it seems like that has changed over a period of time. So I can definitely understand, as just a viewer from the outside, what that looks like.
It definitely, there's not the same decorum. There's not the same respect for the institution. That's what it feels like to some of us too. Even the way some people dress, or address each other. And,
There was a new dress code that was entered. Was it in the Senate or was it in the House, or both?
Well, the Senate was always, suits and ties and all of that. But when John Fetterman, the senator from Pennsylvania, he likes to wear his cut off shorts and that kind of thing. And Senator Schumer gave in to him, but then he changed it, because he changed it back to what it was. In the House, it's a little looser. It's always looser in the House, even when I was a state rep. It's always looser, but there needs to, like, people have started wearing sneakers or gym shoes, tennis shoes, whatever you want to call them, more, and then, sneaking in with the jeans, and or not wearing a tie. Or even at the State of the Union, one of our better known House members with her hat on, and she refused to take it off, or even screaming out. That happened to President Obama too, during the State of the Union, very rude. And even some of the Republicans felt it was rude too. We get along better than people think, most of us. But then you have your outliers, like with anything.
Yeah, and they just tend to be the noisiest. I know what that's like, and so they get the most attention. But speaking of the State of the Union, you took someone with you to the State of the Union?
I took someone with me, yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Tell us
Do you want
about,
to go?
Well, first of all, I'd love to go, but no, I was so excited when I heard about it that you said, Dr. Green, is that correct?
Dr. Green is my hero.
Okay, Dr. Green. For those who
I
do not
actually
know
brought
Dr.
two
Green,
people.
yeah. Well, I don't know who the other one was, but I heard about Dr. Green. Dr. Green is absolutely fantastic. If anyone here in Harvey knows about Family Christian Health Center, then you know a little bit about Dr. Green and the work that she's done, and that she continues to do in this city. And so when I heard that you took her to the State of the Union, I was so excited for her. I forgot that I wanted to go myself because she's just an absolutely fantastic
Oh my God.
person.
I do a lot of work around healthcare, and I can't remember when we met, but she has been in my corner 2,000%, and I'm in hers 2,000%. And I could be her agent because she's come back a few times because other people have met her, and she's participated in different programs. The Congressional Black Caucus Foundation,
Okay.
with CBC members, we do something every September, and she was one of my guests speaking there. But then she participated in another forum. People just keep calling her back, and she's magnificent. And we've been able to help her, like during COVID, with a mobile van so she could go around. Then we just helped her with another piece of equipment that will help with maternal health. So she's
And
wonderful.
She's absolutely fantastic. I mean, we could have a whole nother, you know what, maybe we should have her on one day so everybody else can get to know who she is. She's absolutely
She's one of my
fantastic.
heroes,
Yes,
for
she
sure.
really is. And but talking about maternal health, I know before we wrap it up, I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about some of the, I would say, they call them pet projects, but I don't know if that's the proper term or not. Things that you are really pushing for, both here and in DC, that you'd like other people to know about.
Well, I'm on the healthcare subcommittee, so I do a lot of healthcare work and a lot around maternal mortality and morbidity. Too many women, period, in the United States are dying. For us to be the richest country in the history of the world and have the rate that we have is unacceptable. And black women, as people have heard, are dying 3 times the rate of their white peers. But that depends on where you are because it's higher in the Chicagoland area and other places. I look at gun violence as a public health crisis, so I ran on this issue. I'm still pushing what we could do to break the cycle of violence. We did get a piece of legislation passed for the first time in 30 years, and my part of it was trafficking and straw purchasing, because even though Chicago itself has strict gun laws, but if no one else around Chicago does, which our states do not, some of the states it's gotten easier to purchase a gun, so we're still pushing what we can do, but we have to break the cycle of violence too. That is a really big part of it. We have to work with our young people on jobs and hobbies and mentors and, good education and things like that, so they go toward that, not guns. I work a lot with technology through AI and cybersecurity and those kind of things. And then I'm doing work around more healthcare for 911 dispatchers, and always in the back of my mind is economic development and workforce development for the communities I serve.
Speaking of gun violence in Chicago specifically, I've always wondered why, as a mayor in a home rule municipality, it seems like we have more difficulty actually passing types of laws to challenge or deal with the issues of gun violence in our smaller communities, when we could actually use a blueprint that, even though I wouldn't say necessarily that Chicago is, the poster child for how you're supposed to do it, but at least there's been some initiative, and I think if the smaller communities would do the same thing or try to create the same thing, then it starts to grow and grow and grow, and next thing you know, it's statewide, and then it's nationwide. So that's definitely one of the things that here in the city of Harvey we want to focus on. I kind of will say I usually follow your leadership. So, actually, not usually. I do all the time. But it's because I do, and I've come to realize that when we are working together, even on a smaller scale in a community such as Harvey, and then larger communities such as Chicago and, say, for instance, Aurora, and then statewide, and then nationwide, we can really get a lot of things done. So, whether it's you know gun violence issues, or whether it's dealing with maternity, mortality, things of that nature. We want to make sure that we're addressing those. So we're probably going to have some conversations in the
That'd be
future
great.
about that. And when we see, that's a good episode right there. I'm putting it all together right now, because here's the deal. You and Dr. Green could actually come by and actually talk about something like that, and how the impact is really there. And while people don't necessarily see it because it's an individualized thing, collectively it is affecting
Sure.
an entire community.
Definitely.
So yeah, we're gonna set that up,
Okay.
and try to get that going at some point in time. But after we introduce everybody to the phenomenal person called Dr. Green first, so that's what we'll do. So Congressman, I just want to thank you so much for joining us. You know, I always get overly excited when I see you, but it's because, you know, I have only known very few people who are really truly genuine about the work. You know, they actually put in the time, they put in the effort, but they also feel it as well. And a lot of times when we have, and I can say it, when we have leadership, sometimes that leadership isn't genuine. And you can tell, you know, but ever since I've known you, first of all, ever since I heard of you, and then ever since I've known you, I've always saw the same consistency regardless. You know, you're one of those people where, yeah, you know, what you see is what you get. You know, your yeses mean yes, your no's mean no, and you try to help, in my opinion, everybody that you possibly can. So even being on this show is a help, and it's a help to our people. So thank you so much for helping us. Thank you so much for helping the city of Harvey, and thank you so much for the resources and all that you do.
Well, thank you for having me on. And despite what people see on the outside, I do love my job. I love my district. I've been blessed with a wonderful staff for 11 years. No one does anything by themselves, and certainly I couldn't do the things that I do without all of them. So I have to give them a shout out also.
Oh,
and
yes.
It's a pleasure to work with you, and hopefully more to come.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
And so join us next time to continue on our series of telling Harvey's story. We'll continue to explore it each and every time the current state of affairs here in the city of Harvey. I'm your host, Mayor Christopher J. Clark. Thank you.